Vandenberg starting to fatigue a little bit. World record.
But he's still got a good lead, Vandenberg. Katajima won't get there. Does he get the world record, Vandenberg? He's done the lot in one big swim. Leclos and Mitsuda are closing. It's going to be close. Phelps is hanging on. He's a winner. Does he touch? He doesn't. Leclos touched because Phelps got it wrong on the line. It's unbelievable.
So gold to South Africa, silver to Great Britain and bronze for Denmark.
Who will take the silver and the bronze? It's Hungary, and then it is Ukraine and South Africa with Brigitte Hartley.
Sabinova of Russia who wins. Jepkoskai is tying up, and here comes Semenya lumbering along to come into second place there.
And tonight we begin the process of making brand new memories for Rio Olympics 2016. Folks, join us for the ride. It's going to be fantastic. We've got 306 different competitions spread across 42 different sporting codes, all across the next 17 days. And of course, it's happening in Rio, South America's very first Olympic Games. Now, the big question on opening night, and I know you all have it, is how many medals can South Africa potentially win? It's going to be our starting point, and we're going to introduce you to a cast of stars. Folks from the media, gold medalists, people that you are acquainted with when it comes to looking at South Africa's success at Olympic level. And of course, over the last few months, we've been saying, Destino Rio. We can now officially and finally, and for the first time tonight, say, Hola Rio, because it is here. I want to come to our guests first of all, and what a privilege it is to have in the middle of the seat, the table here, the woman who put South Africa on the Olympic map with our very first gold medal, Penny Haynes. It's good to have you here. You've had a taste in that opening of the success, South African success. What goes through your head and your heart when you see those visuals of Cameron, of Chad?
Obviously, I get very excited when I see Cameron swim. Having been a breaststroker myself, it was an amazing swim. Knowing the competition that he was up against, a little bit of a surprise, I think. For Chad, I think he swam with heart, so very exciting to watch that.
Absolutely. Let me go to the far end of the table. There, Grootman, I think it's been about 10 years since anybody's allowed you in studio with me. BBK Baring Batokorjas, good to have you in. South Africa will know you for your very strong views on sport generally. SABC viewers will know you for your views on football. So, the action's kicked off. Banyana has been in action, went down and tried as hard as they could, but wasn't that draw. 10-man draw against the host nation last night. A fantastic way for South Africa to start off the games.
Great to reunite, Udo. 10 years, it's been a long time. Yeah? And I also feel like I'm an Olympian myself. I'm in the presence of greatness here.
They rub off.
And it rubs off indeed. You're talking about a great performance. I think that we've got Brazil's number any day, anytime, no matter who's around. Let's go Bafana. Back when we were African kings, what happened? We played them at FNB. Halftime, we're leading them 2-0. Until Clive Parker took out Dr. Khumalo, they came back. Bebeto celebration, they won 3-0. Remember, even Zakalo was doing Clive Parker celebration. We also played them again. They beat us 2-1 this time around. But if you go back 16 years ago, the first and the last time we were at the Olympics in terms of football for the men's team, we beat them. Not 1, not 2, but 3-1. They had Ronaldinho in the squad. Last night they had who? Neymar. Neymar what? Ask Mubarak about Neymar. Ask Mubarak about Neymar. Did you see that exchange? I'm not going to be able to say what he said on TV, but he said something like what Zidane said to Materazzi at the World Cup. It was great. It was encouraging. The ladies, let it go. At the end, our goalkeeper must forget the batter. Must just make sure she holds the ball very well and learn from Khune and take some tips, because Itumeleng Khune, anyone was disagreeing with his selection for the team was served that dollop bowl of humble pie.
Well, I do think people were dishing out humble pie the way that South Africa played last night against Brazil. Now, another man that I need to have a chat with, and he's a sidekick of sorts, because we've been watching our track and field team get to the point of going to the Olympic Games, and the hope has been built up by great performances on home soil and abroad. Medals for Team SA on the track and the field, Malarba?
Well, let's get to the hope first. It's been really exciting South African athletics season. We've had more qualifiers than in a very long time, more female qualifiers, which is great to see. And of course, one of those female qualifiers is our great medal hope, Caster Semenya. She's been running extremely well in Europe on the Diamond League, hasn't lost a race, and very often come from behind with that very strong kick. And she's a clear medal favourite, clear gold medal favourite, in fact. And then, of course, in my event, the 400 metres, Wade van Niekerk. He's been running very well, also unbeaten so far this year, the defending world champion, if you can put it that way. But he's got some competition. LaShawn Merritt, especially the American, has been running very well this year. And in the one time they've met so far was over 300 metres, and Wade had Merritt's number there, so let's hope he can repeat that in Rio.
Well, talking about getting it all off our chest, our analysts in studio, our specialists certainly want to do so. We want to get it all off your chest as well. And of course, the way you're going to do that across the next 17 days is by engaging with us on social media. The handle, of course, is @sport@SABC. And we got a very, very specific question for you. Let's go to the touchscreen now, first of all. Sibedi Molefe, good to have you on. Before we ask the nation, I want to ask you, what's your number?
Well, I'm looking at around, say, 30, 40. I think we can really do it. I mean, the hype, the excitement, it's just all over South Africa right now and the world at large. So I really think that our athletes can bring it home. Why not, hey?
Well, there we go. Sibedi Molefe, of course, what we need you to do is use that handle @sport@SABC. Get connecting with us. The question is, realistically, how many gold medals is South Africa likely to win? We've heard the predictions of 8 medals in 2016. I don't know if that's a pessimistic or an optimistic one, but we shall see. But that, of course, Sibedi, is what we want to find out from South Africa.
Certainly, and I'm all here, so they must start tweeting. Our Twitter handle is, of course, @sport@SABC. So keep playing them. I'm here, and I'll be reading them out loud for you.
Well, there we go. Let me get back to our panel right here. I want to start on the far side. I want to get your number and why.
10 says Saskok, right? 6 gold. I see Caster getting the gold. It is crucial for Caster to get the gold, not just for South Africa, but for Caster herself. I've never come through anyone, a sports star, somebody who excel in what they do, who's been subjected to so much ridicule. Ridicule because of how God created her. I want Caster to silence Paula Radcliffe from Britain because I think she's got a big mouth on herself. Caster is in great form. When she became the first person to win 3 events in one day in Porsche, I went to see her. I looked at her. I spoke to her, Penny. I looked her in the eye. I saw that glint. I saw that smile. I saw that determination to say, Caster Semenya is back. She is in form. She is in love. She is happy. She wears a bracelet that was given to her by Violet. She takes it with her wherever she goes. And she says to me, BBK, I'm not going there to do anything, to prove anything to anyone. I'm going there to run and run a race of my life. And long may that continue. And Caster Semenya, you are not there just for South Africa and your family. You are there for the rest of Africa. You are there for all the other women who've been maligned. I think of another athlete from India. Caster went through all the tests, right? All the tests subjected by the IAAF. She passed everything. Who is Paula? Specifically, Paula Radcliffe. She needs to take a seat or maybe even go on holiday forever.
Goodness, well, Adna, I want to come to you because it is a conversation that we've had for the longest while. The point is, she complies with whatever rules have been set. And as BBK puts it, who is anybody to be questioning that going into the games?
No, BBK is right. He's very emotional about it as well. And it's good to see. Caster's not doing anything wrong. She's complied with all the rules. And as BBK said, she's very comfortable in her own skin at the moment. She's relaxed. She's confident. And she's ready to take on the world. She's taking all this criticism in her stride as well. I think she's learned a lot in the last 7 years, really, and how to deal with all of this. And it's standing her in very, very good stead.
Penny, as an athlete, all you want to do is go and compete. I get the feeling, if I see the peace, the calm that is within Caster Semenya at the moment, it's not going to affect her. She's going to do her best. But it is tough to deal with that sort of barrage.
Yeah, but I think, like Arnold said, she's gone through it for 7 years now. She's dealt with it. And I think the best way to approach the Olympics is just to think of it as another event. Now, that may sound strange to the public, but I think from an athlete's perspective, you can only go out there and do your best. And Caster's definitely got BMT, and I think we're going to see some fantastic running.
Let me ask you, in the pool, are you going to make a prediction? Give us a number. What's your number?
In the pool alone?
Yeah,
or
in the pool alone.
In the pool? Oof, I'd rather say the whole team.
We can cover it up in other sporting codes, yeah?
I think I want to be very optimistic, but I'm also a realist. And I think our boys are up against very strong competition. But at the Olympic Games, anything can happen. And if you look in the breaststroke, Cameron himself said it's going to take a world record to win. I think Cameron wouldn't say that if he didn't think he could possibly do it. But Adam Peaty is very strong competition. Outside of that, I don't really know if there's anyone else to touch them. In terms of Chad swims like a beast, and he's got a huge heart. So, you know, come down to the day, he swims to win. But Michael Phelps is back to prove a point. And just even watching the footage just now, I noticed a few things where perhaps Michael could do a better job next time round. Chad puts his head down and he doesn't breathe the last 3 or 4 strokes, where Michael actually breathed every single stroke right into the touch. And that shows me that I think he was so confident in the 200 fly, he didn't think anyone would ever catch him. So going into these games, it's going to be another story. And, of course, we have Laszlo Shea from Hungary as well out there. So the boys are going to have a fight on their hands.
Now, I want to come to you, and we'll drill deeper as the night goes on, as the Olympic Games goes on, because Wade van Niekerk, one thing going in there with the credentials of winning the World Champs last year, statistically, time-wise, somebody like Akani Simbine, and I know we get excited because we want him to medal.
Yeah.
He goes up against the fastest runners in the world, can he?
He can. He's proven that he can. I mean, a couple of weeks ago in Hungary, he ran against Asaf Opal and beat Asaf Opal, previous world record holder. Akani's now running 9.89. And that's the 5th fastest time in the world this year. But let's qualify that a bit. A certain Usain Bolt has not really posted a time so far in the world. And so you've got Bolt, Gatlin, Johan Blake, Jimmy Vico from France is looking good. But Akani should make a final. And actually on this I want to make a point. There's such an emphasis on medals. And I think sometimes it's an over-emphasis on medals. We almost think that somebody's failed when they don't get a medal. But for somebody like Akani Simbine, just to make that final, and give a good showing, and perhaps maybe run a personal best, even if he doesn't do that, just to make the final and mix it up with the big boys, so to speak, will be a brilliant achievement for him. If he medals, icing on the cake.
It's the final word on the far side.
It reminds me of a story we published in the paper just last week. You know, when the team was being announced, Team South Africa at Saskok House, he wasn't here, obviously, so his mother was there to represent him, of course. And one of the journalists who asked him, David Isaacson, spoke to her, and she says, you know, I like the fact that he's doing this thing, but he is lazy, man. He's always looking around in the sofa, and I'm like, hey, Akani, what are you doing? Ah, Mama, I need to recover. He can run all he wants. All I need is for Akani to finish his degree. You know, mothers and the love that they have for us, all they want to see is for us to be educated. But Akani, like Anu is saying, you know, it could be that one dark horse that could medal in spite of Bolt. I still have that vivid memory of them together running over the line and the chat that they were having. It looked like they've got a good rapport. You know, even said Bolt gave him a call to congratulate him. I hope that congratulations and the friendship will be suspended when the time comes, and I hope he can actually qualify in the hips and gets into the final and prove to his mother that he's not lazy after all.
There we go. Love the insights. You're only going to get it from the folks around the table here. And Akani, if he's not recovering, I think he's playing Xbox with his fellow athletes all the time. Time for us to take a break, but it's just a break. But we want to crack your heads. Here's a quick little question for you. What is the number of athletes that represent South Africa, of course, in 2016 Olympics, participating in the codes there? If you know the answer, let us know. Quick little break, and we'll be back in just a bit.
You have the power to be different and have what you want.
As we walk down the aisle, we'd like every choir member invited to sing our song.
Oh, happy day.
That's not our song.
You know just what you want. Dial *123# now for incredible tailor-made offers on Just For You. Vodacom, power to you.
I tried a different breakfast today with the all-new Belvita biscuit. So I made the bed, washed the pan. Well, I am a modern man. Did some manly stuff like chop down a tree. Okay, I didn't. But I got a seat, had to swim, scared the pants off of Tim. Bought some tech off a blog, met a bongo playing dog. And we even made this ad.
Belvita breakfast biscuits, made with 3 different whole grains, gently baked to preserve their intrinsic qualities.
Belvita, energy for your morning.
Inenyama gogo, ngaphakathi nangaphezulu.
With your choice of chicken or meat toppings and a cheese griller-filled crust, it's more amazing on top and inside. The Debonairs Pizza Cramped Crust. Debonairs Pizza. Try something amazing.
Officials are reporting these Doritos are responsible for the worldwide mold outbreak.
Woohoo! Over to you, Paul! Things have gone totally around the bend! It's raring to go! There is boldness everywhere!
Doritos.
I quit!
Has the world gone completely bold?
Prepare for the boldness coming soon.
Generations of mothers have believed in the healing power of herbs, which is why when we're on the go and a cough starts, I use Dr. Mom Herbal Cough Lozenges. Dr. Mom has combined the power of herbal extracts to relieve coughs and soothe the throat.
Thanks, Mom.
Dr. Mom, powered by nature.
Welcome back. Now, we had a bit of a trivia question for you before the break. Of course, if you haven't noticed, it was an open book test for those of you who didn't get it. The question, of course, what is the number of athletes that will represent South Africa in 2016 Rio Olympics, participating across 18 sporting codes, 143 in total. So there you have it. We'll keep throwing these out. And, of course, the question we're asking you on social media, don't forget, be part of the conversation right now at Sport at SABC. You let us know how many medals you think South Africa can win in 2016. Now, speaking of the Games, the Olympic Games, the Olympic torch, that light of camaraderie that goes around the world, that goes to the host city, Rio. Just in the last month alone, it's traveled a distance of 22,000 kilometers within Rio, even in some of the rough neighborhoods, and folks were saying all sorts of nasty things about it being stolen. Well, guess what? That light has been shining, it's been burning bright, and of course, it makes its way to the Maracana Stadium for the opening ceremony this evening, which by our account is just a couple of hours away. So if you've ever wondered just what that history of that torch is all about, have a look at this.
Cultures represents energy, bravery and creation. Its association with the modern games began in Amsterdam 1928. Lit using the sun's rays in Olympia, the Olympic flame has become the world's most travelled object, thanks to the torch relay. It's been across oceans, to the Great Barrier Reef and even up into space. A well-seasoned traveller and always one to make a grand entrance at the opening ceremony, from being the arrow in a Paralympic archer's bow to being part of a downhill skier's jump. Spectacular and emotional, the lighting of the cauldron with the Olympic flame is an honour reserved for sporting greats. The symbolic flame met another of its elemental cousins in 2000, when 400-metre star Kathy Freeman walked on water to light the Sydney Games cauldron. Italy's winter edition 10 years ago featured the tallest cauldron at 57 metres. China's spectacular opening ceremony culminated in the flame flying in the hands of former Olympic gymnast Li Ning at the Bird's Nest. London made the flame highlight the Olympic vision of a world united. The purity of the flame makes it a worthy symbol of the fire within any Olympic athlete.
Well, there we go, the Olympic torch, that flame that burns so brightly. And of course, for my own personal reckoning, it's got to be 1996, Muhammad Ali and him lighting the flame. Let me come here to our guests, and I think we share that moment, BBK. It's got to be.
Sure. The greatest, King Ali.
For an
Floating
athlete.
like a butterfly, stinging like a bee.
Absolutely. On earth as in heaven. Penny Haynes, what does it do to that athlete when you're standing there in the wings waiting for the opening ceremony and that torch comes in with so much history to it?
Look, to be honest, I only attended one Games, and that was in Barcelona. So back then, that's quite a long time ago, by the way. 24 years ago, yeah? But all I remember is this excitement, and as South Africans, we really didn't know what to expect. But it was an amazing experience.
Now, I'm sitting here with the running order for this evening, so I know how the torch will be lit, but what are you expecting?
I don't know what to expect. Isn't that one of the big things about the Olympic torch? How is it going to be lit? What's going to happen? Who's going to do it?
Well, let me put it to you this way. What hasn't been done yet?
I have no idea. I'm trying to think, but no idea, really. It's they were talking about Pele, but I see he tweeted that he's too ill to actually attend the opening ceremony. So unless that's the fake of all times, it's probably not going to be him.
I'm not going to let the cat out the bag now. BBK.
There's a funny story about the light. When it arrived in Rio, they made a whole ceremony just for some members of the public to come around. They brought the army out, and then they brought a tiger to stand around and be part of the whole ceremony. The tiger was not very pleased about being there in the whole proceeding, so at some stage it got agitated and it beat one of the soldiers. They had to put it down because it got wild. So there's going to be a lot of fire in the belly of all these athletes because they're looking at the tiger called Jama. That was his name.
Absolutely. Let me come to Siberi and ask you, just of all the Olympic Games that we've been honored, privileged to see, that opening ceremony, how important is it to you to open in that way, and what's your favorite sort of torch moment been?
Look, really just raising up the flag of your country. I think that's the most awesome thing on an international platform. For me, that just makes me even more proud as South African. So I'm sure, I mean, even Penny can even tell us that just being there, even when I'm home, I feel like I'm part of that. So just that on its own, it's amazing.
Absolutely. Now, of course, the Olympic Games in Rio, one of the most expensive in history. They will tell you, though, that the opening ceremony comes in at a budget of only 10% of what they did in London. If I look at the plan for tonight, I'm going to say they must have stretched those reals very, very nicely to come away with that sort of spend. But it's all about the medals. As I said at the opening of the show, 306 different competitions, 42 different sporting codes. Everybody wants a gold medal. Where do those medals come from, though? I'll have you know, though, that in Brazil, they've been very eco-friendly, and sustainable is the word. The first time in Olympic history that this much recycled metal has been used in the creation of those gold, those silver, those bronze medals. But catch up for yourself and have a look.
Medal, while the first gold medal was handed out in 1904. Since Olympic medals became standardized, on one side there's the iconic image of the goddess of victory, Nike. In Rio, it'll be accompanied by the words 31st Olympiad. On the other side, laurel leaves frame the Rio 2016 Olympic logo. The silver and bronze medals in Rio have been produced using 30% recycled material, while the gold is free of mercury and purer than ever. The Paralympic medals include a special innovation, a tiny device inside which makes a noise when the medal is shaken. 2,500 medals will be handed out, representing months of hard work and sacrifice.
Well, there we go. That's what the next 17 days will be all about, winning one of those. Now, Penny, you've got two of those. Firstly, how does yours differ to what you see from the Rio Games? Is it bigger?
Well, I haven't held those. I think mine are quite hefty. The two from Atlanta, the gold medals, the symbol on the front is the same as it was in Sydney. Whereas I believe after that they keep changing it a little bit. So every country or every host country has some leeway to put their own flavour onto it. But I don't know. I think mine are the best.
But I need to ask you though. Once they hang it around your neck, obviously you guard it like it's your own little precious thing until the end of the games. But when Penny Haynes eventually got home with that first gold medal, just where did it go and where does it live now?
Well, first of all, when I received them, I actually put them in my sock drawer. I didn't hold on to them. And now at home they're in a safe. But I take them out almost every weekend because we do swim clinics. So about 50 kids get to wear them, the two gold and the bronze from Sydney. So I put them to use because what's the use if it's just in a box?
Absolutely. Your World Champs medals and the like, where's your collection stashed?
I've got a collection of medals hanging up, like on a wall, except for the World Champs medal, because that one I don't want hanging out. So that's safely put away, and I take it out. You know, sometimes when friends come to visit and things like that. That's about it. Yeah, but it's quite a lot heavier. Like Penny said, these big championship medals are quite a lot bigger and heavier, or heftier is quite a good word, than your normal medals that you get. Yeah, so.
BBK, there are no medals for the media, but I suppose...
I do have a collection of caps.
Absolutely. Here we go. Fantastic insights once again, and we're building up to the opening ceremony. You're going to have to be with us until Saturday morning, and that's why we're having a chat now about the prospects for Team South Africa. Now, you'll remember, in one fell swoop, in 1 week, we had the team announcement, and then, of course, we had the team send-off from SASCOC. We caught up with some of our athletes before they headed off to Rio. Let's get their insights into what they feel the South African prospects are.
Having the opportunity to make the squad to go to Olympics is really really, it's scary in a good way, you know what I mean? It's like, wow, I'm going to Olympics and I'm actually going to be Olympian and stand a chance of winning gold at the Olympics, which is something you can only dream of. So like these dreams are all coming true, and it's so amazing. I feel like we're blessed to be in this position.
To do is just to believe in yourself, focus on what you do. Take step at a time, then you'll achieve whatever you want to achieve.
The world #1 wins here very comfortably indeed, and that's so impressive.
In my mind, I see myself winning. That's just what it is. I have to at least retain my title and may possibly add to that.
It's unbelievable. It's a shocking upset.
Every sportsman's dream is to go to the Olympics.
Being part of Team South Africa, that's going to be truly special.
It's definitely something special, and the general public will never get to do that. So it's something that you can take with you for years to come.
Richard Murray from South Africa wins.
Astonishing performance, and look what it means to him.
Touching the wall, yeah, it was a life-changing event.
What a performance! Celebrate. Well done, Cameron Vanderburg.
Yeah, winning gold is, as I said, one of the proudest moments of my life, and something that we would like to repeat this year.
When each and every one of us go on our blocks, we all know that it's going to be intense.
South Africa win it!
What a boost for South African athletics. Absolutely fabulous.
I always want it all, and gold is what I'd want.
I need to perform well. I need to go out and try and get that medal.
I'm very focused, and I'm ready to go.
There's often that cliche of leaving it all out there, but there's no bigger place to leave it all out there.
Absolute goose flesh, because you look at every one of those athletes heading off to, well, they're in Rio now, and you think to yourself, there's a realistic possibility of so many of them returning with medals. But as you said, let's not just focus on that final number, on the medals. Focus on the fact that you've got athletes who, if they get to the finals, it's going to be like the greatest performance of their lives. So having looked at that now, let's just very quickly, and we'll deal with it a little bit later as well, the new sporting codes going to the Olympic Games. You look at the rugby team, they're there and thereabouts when it comes to the top 3 nations in the world. Yep. There's a potential for medals. Yep. It is a pity that some of our finer golfers have decided not to go out of fear for the Zika virus, but if you look at the likes of Jaco van Zyl, potential for medals there as well.
Yeah, I think golf is such an interesting sport sometimes. I mean, you can have the best player in the world having an off day and not winning anything. And it's not just our golfers, let's be honest. There's a lot of good golfers around the world who chose not to go, which maybe opens the door for a few other people. So on the day, play a good game and things go your way. There's a lot of luck involved as well with golf, whether it's 1 centimetre to the left or the right, your putt. And, they could surprise. I don't think we're not touting our golfers as medal winners, but you never know.
I need to ask the journalist in the mix here. One man in particular, Rory McIlroy, former world #1, comes on public record and says, listen, I don't play golf to develop the game. I play golf to win major trophies. What does that say about a man at the top of his game and his view of a sport like golf at the Olympic Games?
I think it's just his sort of excuse to explain that he doesn't understand the spirit of the Olympics. I think that every great athlete in the world would want to, at some stage, be an Olympian. There's no stage where it says a former Olympian. Penny Haynes is an Olympian. Until Penny Haynes is known, Penny Haynes is an Olympian. It is something that you would want to have next to your name. And also, I think that the fears of Zika virus are realistic. I mean, I understand from those who said, no, you know what, my partner is pregnant right now, and I wouldn't want to expose her to that. It might risk, contaminating diseases. That's fine. But I think that when you look at people like Tiger Woods, he's been off form, for forever. It doesn't really matter whether he's there or not. And in their absence, maybe a guy like Bubba Watson, this could be his tournament. He could be the one winning the tournament on its return to Olympics.
But then, of course, the world's going to say after the fact, Penny, well, the best in the world weren't there, so how much do we celebrate?
Nobody said they mustn't go. It's their choice.
Where do you stand on this debate about sporting codes that should and shouldn't be at the Olympic Games?
Look, I think I'm a bit of a purist, so for me, the golf, I think they've got so many, just like tennis in a sense, they've got so many huge tournaments. So I can see that the Olympics is just one of many. It's not, 112 years, I think, since golf has been part of the Olympic Games. So it is a pity. Having said that, though, it's really interesting to see the likes of Gary Player and his attitude towards it and how positive he is. And I think it's sad that the showing that we're going to have now at the Olympic Games might mean that we won't see golf in the next few games again.
Let me get a touchscreen for Saberi's view on this as well. Where do we draw the line? I mean, what's next? Darts?
Where is patriotism? I mean, really, if I were them, whether I'm world's #1 or not, I think this is just about the world coming together on an international platform, on an international stage, getting to know different cultures and all of that. I mean, really, if you go to a majors, yes, you do mix up here and there. However, the atmosphere, everything is totally different. Like I said, even when I'm home, I can sort of like feel the atmosphere. I'm home, I'm not there, but hey, I guess maybe sometimes money, I don't know.
And of course, the question we're asking you is just how many medals you think South Africa are likely to win at the Rio Olympic Games. And get cracking on Twitter, @SABC, and let me know. Now, there are medals, which is what the athletes compete for. And then there are what is known as Olympic pins. Now, since the start of the modern Olympic Games, it's kind of like Pokemon Go for the 19th century, but people have been collecting these for many, many years. So let's have a look at who some of the top Olympic pin collectors are in the world. And of course, this is what we're talking about, folks. You've got individuals who travel to every single Olympic Games. Apparently Australia, the US, you can't keep the Aussies out of anything, the USA, and a nation like Sweden are amongst the top pin collectors. I'm sure you've been to the Games. You've seen these folks around.
Yeah, we've participated in it. You get bags of pins when you go to the Olympics that you can swap around and get with other athletes for pins from their countries, etc. And I used to collect quite a few myself, but I'm not really the collecting type, so it got a bit onerous. But these people, it's like a passion, collecting stamps, everything, and it's really to see how much can I get. And
there we go. Well, one of the top collectors in the world, an Australian by the name of Sydney Marritz. He said he's done over the last 16 years something like 10,000 trades of pins all around the world. And just for your information, the most sought after ones would be the ones for individual sporting codes and not the ones that just commemorate Rio Olympics or Atlanta Olympics. So if you find yourself in the Olympic precinct and you see those tables out and about there, go and see if you can do yourself a bit of a trade. Now, a man who wears many, many hats, no pins though, BBK, we touched on the issue of which sporting codes should and shouldn't be. There's an argument to be made that a sport like soccer perhaps shouldn't be, and the rationale then would be if the sport, its pinnacle achievement is not an Olympic medal, then it shouldn't be in the Olympic Games. It's difficult to judge it purely just on that criteria, but where do you stand?
I'll take you back to a team like Nigeria. One of the things that they've won, one of the greatest teams that went on to be seen by the world of Nigeria, of JJ Okocha, Nwankwo Kanu, Finidi George, Samson Siasia, you name them, they had won an Olympic medal before. What did they do afterwards? They won the Nations Cup. What did they do after that? They went to the World Cup. One of the greatest performances, captained by the late Stephen Keshi. Most of the teams went in for them. Nwankwo Kanu went where? Inter Milan. Arsenal after that. Many other players, JJ Okocha played in Turkey, played in England. So that Olympic appearance was like a springboard for them. It was a shop window for them to be seen by the world in football to go on and do that. Nigeria, sometimes you feel that, okay, these players are under 23, but you look at them like, okay, I didn't say that.
Sure.
But the fact is, the stage is there, the platform is there, let them go display their talents, and they take it seriously. They do take it seriously. I mean, a guy like Lionel Messi, Argentina Football Association goes to Barcelona, sit down, listen, it's not in the FIFA calendar, but hey, it's Messi. And what is Messi going to do for the Olympics? It's going to draw crowds. It's Messi. People want to see the best, arguably, player in the world in football. In the Olympics, he went there, didn't he? He did. He helped Argentina win gold. So there is value that these sports kind of add. For women's sports, football, this is the one stage where women football is being taken seriously.
I'm going to take issue with you there because it shouldn't be that way. The Women's World Cup should be elevated to the status of the pinnacle trophy for that event. But I know you disagree with me as well, that we can't just use that simple criteria for this argument.
You're going to get me into trouble now. This is much too complicated, but I do agree. Okay, let's take the golf issue again. So it's not the pinnacle of the sport. Rory McIlroy came out and said he dreams, when he was a young boy, dreamt of claret jugs and green jackets, not Olympic medals. And I understand that, and I don't think that golf should be there for that very reason. Now, I'm probably being crucified already for saying that. Some other people said, give golf 20 years, because in 20 years, maybe the Olympics will be like a major. My counter-argument is tennis has had 20 years, and Wimbledon is still more important than an Olympic medal. So it's still not the pinnacle. So I do agree with that, but it is a very simplistic criteria because there are other things that you can look at. Now let's take it to rugby. Big sport in this country, obviously. So the rugby sevens guys, their attitude towards this Olympic Games is absolutely phenomenal. They want to be there. They are really looking forward and they want to go and win a medal for South Africa. And that's what we want to see from these sports. So even though you might say that the Olympics is not the pinnacle of rugby, I like the attitude of the guys going in. To them it matters. It really, really matters. And the golfers, to be honest, up to now haven't shown that kind of attitude.
Well, some of the arguments from the lady and gentleman on the floor about what should and shouldn't be at the Olympic Games. Let's have a look what actually is there for the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. And of course, it's fantastic, Penny, to have a look at the range of sporting codes we have there and realize that South Africa are represented across so many of those sporting codes.
Definitely. I think that as a nation, our respect and our enthusiasm around the Olympics has definitely grown immensely, and to see that each time we're adding more and more codes to our Olympic team.
Absolutely. And when it comes to the likes of road cycling, that will be coming up in the opening weekend. Of course, we are keeping an eye on the pool. What else are we looking at in that opening weekend?
Well, obviously the pool, the road cycling, you mentioned that, the rowing, which we have some medal chances in as well. The men's pairs, they have got a good chance there. But what I like, and we talked about medals earlier, is if you look at those sports, you've mentioned that now how many South Africans are in action across those sports.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see in the Olympic Games. I want to be able to turn on my TV and see a South African competing. And I think that is what inspires our youth, is to see South Africans competing in every event, whether they win medals or not. Because a young kid sitting at home saying, I want to be that one day. I want to be there. And that is how we're going to develop athletes and medals even for the future, by inspiring our children just by having South Africans competing there.
Speaking of an inspirational story here, especially rowing, participating and competing there, I'm reminded of a story of Lawrence Britain. At some stage in his life, he was battling cancer. He had to completely stop, the sport, had to get cured. And the great thing about the Olympics also, it's providing him a stage to show the triumph of the human spirit, because he is going to be amongst the people who are competing tomorrow in the rowing section. So that inspiration comes from that nothing whatsoever can stop you, from chasing your Olympic dream. Even the disease and the sickness of cancer has not stopped him. And the fact that he is there competing, we are holding thumbs that he can be able to go all the way and really prove to the world that nothing can stop you when you have your goal, when that fire is really burning in your belly.
Spenny, any particular events, items that you're looking out for this Olympic Games?
I'm looking at specifically the 200 meters in athletics. There's a young man from Kwakwa originally. His name is Tlotlisole Otlela. It's his first time at the Olympics. I actually had an interview with him just before they left. His story is so amazing. Just like all these other guys, coming from a very rural, remote area, he went to Bloemfontein to make sure that he tries and actually sees how far he can go with his talent. And finally, he went and joined the Tax Development School. And look at him today. He's at the Olympics, where the whole world is today, and he's one of the guys that we're actually celebrating. So that for me is so inspirational, because it says to a young person at home at the rural areas, it is possible.
Well, there we go. So how many of us knew the name, honestly, before going to London 2012, the name of somebody like Bridget Hartley? How many of you knew the athletes who eventually competed and won that awesome foursome in rowing for South Africa? And I think that is the other element about these games, that it will put athletes on the map and in your brains and in your hearts over the next 17 days. And that journey begins right here. We're going to take a quick little break as we build up to the opening ceremony of the Rio Olympic Games in 2016. Stay right there.
Nivea Rich Nourishing Body Lotion has an enriched formula with essential almond oil to deeply nourish your skin for longer. There's no need to add extra oil. Nothing feels like the longer lasting care of Nivea Rich Nourishing Body Lotion. The best care for dry skin, also available in a rich body cream. Enter into the golden world of aromatherapy. New Comfort Aromatherapy Rejuvenating with essential oils. Experience the soothing sensations of aromatherapy.
Welcome back. This is Hola Rio, and we are building up to the 2016 Olympic Games opening ceremony. We're having a ball of a time with all the questions, all the conversations we're having here. And I know some of them may tend to be a little bit controversial, but these conversations need to be had so that we can go into the games with a clean conscience for the next 70 days. That's at least the way that I'm rationalizing all of this. But opening ceremonies. We look at things like the Football World Cup and we say, look, what is the relevance of an opening ceremony? But for the Olympic Games, it's such a signature part of what's going to happen over the next fortnight and a bit. And it's something that many people sort of judge an Olympic Games by.
If we say we live in a global village, if we say the world has become so small, it is important then for all of us to know what is happening next door, what is happening in the tournament. It is the first Olympics ever to be hosted by a South American country. So this is an opportunity for Brazil, which comes just months, just over a year after hosting the World Cup. The ceremony for the World Cup will differ from this one because this one then presents you with an opportunity. And I hope it's going to be actually better than the opening ceremony for the World Cup because that was a bit. But here you get to say, this is Brazil. This is who we are. This is what defines us. This is our culture. This is where samba comes from. This is why we are such happy people. This is why we like our Copacabana Bridge. This is why Barry White sang about Rio de Janeiro. It is an opportunity for that hour, 2 or 3, for anyone in the world that even if I don't get to travel to Brazil, but today, having sat in front of my television, I've been able to learn a couple of things. Some of us, because of the work that we do, have been privileged enough to be there. And sometimes we're like, okay, can we extend this for a month or so I can maybe go see an interview panel or something like that. Yeah. But for anyone at home who will never get the opportunity to travel from wherever in the world, that's your opportunity to say, hola Brazil, how are you doing? After that, obrigado.
There we go. Expectation of in excess of 200,000 visitors from all over the world and within Brazil visiting Rio for the Olympic Games and the various venues. Now, we're building up to what is going to be that thing that just hits you in the heart, as BBK says, and he hopes that it's not like the Soccer World Cup, making him feel, I don't know how to spell that or what that means, but we're hoping that it lives up to all the expectation. Now, we've already had a bit of a heart-stirring with what happened 24 hours ago. Our under-23 team against the host nation, Brazil. Star-studded lineup from the host nation. Football players who still need to etch their names and their talents on the hearts of world football. But boy, oh boy, did they do that across that 90 minutes of football yesterday. And in the second half, with a man down. Let's relive those moments.
They're going to be staying in Brazil for a while.
But a chance for South Africa here on the counter.
On the counter, indeed. And here's a chance. It's Weatherton who's called into action early, stopping Motiba. Some sloppy defending from the Brazilians. The ball made its way to Motiba. Had to be alert, Weatherton. And then he's forward there, Zeka. Pace we talking about on the Brazilian side, but Dolly looks to be the fastest player. Neymar tests the hands of Kuna, and a good save.
Just gets the ball away and unleashes that shot.
They continue. There's an outlet on the left if they choose to go there, but they didn't. Matuka was looking for it. It's Dolly with that left foot. It wasn't far wide.
It wasn't far wide once again. Had that option on the left, and if he'd have...
It's really tested. In the second interval. Very best challenge, and it's a second yellow. It was all going so well for South Africa. And then a second yellow to Mbala. Santos. Good break. Pass to Douglas Santos. Nobody has red foot. He does. Another pass to shoot. But here's a shot from Zeka. The chance has it dissipated. And we're finding the line. It's well played by Ferdinand. So the danger felt the danger. Luan hit the post. How did that not go in from Jesus?
And firstly, the shot from Luan is not the best. Scuffs it. It almost turns out to be an assist for Gabriel Jesus. Should have been an assist. Should have been a goal.
Douglas Santos made a presence in the second half going forward. Neymar, not about first time, second time does go forward. Didn't miss by much.
Not for the first time we've seen Neymar pick the ball up on the left-hand side of the area and knock it onto his right foot. Curl this shot in, it's dipping.
Barbosa certainly a big deal. Guiding one forward to Neymar. Back to Barbosa. Is it one? No. And going with a header with Neymar.
Well, arguably the move of the game so far. Really cleverly done. You expect Neymar to shoot there. All the South African defenders did as well, but Barbosa continued his run, forces an excellent save. Another really good chance here for Brazil.
There's the position there on the left. Back to Barbosa. What an effort. It was a fine effort. Theatrical save from Kuna.
Decision to come out with his leg. It's the right one. And then this one.
Luan, Neymar, still with it, Neymar, still has it all finally, but really tame. In the form that he is in, Kune, not going to be beaten from there.
That was the chance for Neymar, the chance for Brazil. A tame effort in the end.
Two in the box, cuts it across. He was looking there, Jesus, once again impeccable. Not happy with somebody, Kune. That's the left back, but he'll be happy now because there is the final whistle. Some jeers from these stands. Neymar and company unable to find the back of the net for Brazil. Entered this tournament with high hopes on the back of that good result against Japan. They're all smiles, South Africa.
Now that's a result I don't think the world of football saw or foresaw coming. 0-0, South Africa against Brazil. I need to ask you, BBK, towards the end of that game, there was a lot of booing coming from the crowd. Yeah. I wasn't sure whether it was for Kune's time wasting, the antics on the field, or for just how poorly Brazil were playing in that game.
Could be a combination of both. Those of us who know Kune were not surprised. But then it is something that I strongly feel that Kune has nothing to prove to anybody. When Kune is fit, some have even ventured on social media to say when Kune is not in love, Kune gets to focus on his game really. And it's been a long time. It's been a long time since Itumeleng Kune produced a performance like that for both club and country. Now, let's go back to that question about his selection. The rules say any country can select 3 overage players. Owen Takama felt that he needed Kune to be there. Matoo is another guy. They wanted Andy Lejadi as well, but his team in Belgium refused to release him because this tournament does not fall in the FIFA calendar. Now, when you look at this team, let's go back to the African Youth Championships, where they qualified for this, conceding goals. Playing well, but conceding goals. Motupa scores 2 goals, we ship goals at the back. Masugu scores 2 goals, we ship goals at the back. Clearly there's something wrong with our defense. Clearly there's something that needs to be done with the goalkeeping. I am taking absolutely nothing away from Jordi February, who was the star of that qualification campaign with the saves he made, with the penalties as well. I think he's a great goalkeeper. I think that he's young. I think that his progress is doing well at Cape Town. But you want to be at the Olympics and not just to add up the numbers. You want to perform. Kune justified and silenced everybody, including Monique Joseph, who came out in public to say, I don't understand why Kune is there in the team and all those kind of things. A performance like that says, yes, this is why we need to be there. Matoho plays alongside Rivaldo Kutsi for Bafana Bafana. So that combination is kind of like comfortable. We know each other. And there's been instances where we haven't been sure about ourselves at Bafana. This is a moment for us to show that we can repeat what the troops of 2000 did. Keegan Dolly, playing football for Sundowns, winning the league with Sundowns, playing almost every game in the league, competitions, CAF Champions League. This boy has had no holiday. This boy has had no rest. This boy is burning with fire. He arrived after they played their Champions League game for Sundowns, and you can see he's determined. There are scouts there. The world is watching. You produce a great performance in the 3 games in the group alone. Somebody may come. You are young. You are under 23. It's an opportunity for you to sell yourself, baby. Sundowns will find somebody else.
I think Itumeleng Khune did just that last night. He certainly had the scouts sitting up and taking notice. Now, that was a biggish moment. South Africa drawing to the host nation, 0-0 in the opening match when nobody foresaw it. Every Olympic Games has massive moments. What's yours? And I know from 4 years ago, this one will rate as something that we all have in common. The moment that Chad le Clos did this.
Representing South Africa, Chad le Clos.
I've been watching Michael for a long time. I've watched all his, even his interviews. If I can find a weakness there, I've always, watching my competitors. If it's not just Phelps all the time, but I mean, Phelps was he was the king back then. So you kind of, when you're playing whatever sport you're playing, you want to beat the best. I mean, if I was a runner, I would do the same for Usain Bolt.
United States of America, Michael Phelps.
Obviously, when Phelps walked out, it's a huge cheer. So it was really, it was a bit of a daunting experience, I must say. Everything goes slowly, and I can still remember it like right now, like it was yesterday. I had Phelps on my right and Takeshi, the Japanese guy, on my left, and it was just like a whole different experience to what I've usually used to. And of course, the race itself was, it was perfect. Everything went according to plan. I mean, just the way that we planned it, with my coach and in my dreams, that's just the way it was like in the race. Final stretch, the last 15 meters, it was like the movies where everything goes slowly. I honestly thought that I came second because I was, behind the whole way. I mean, until the last meter and a half,
Yes!
To the naked eye, you didn't see who won. So I was just happy he got a medal. I was crying because he got a medal. I thought, second, third, I don't care.
Michael, of course, is a legend. He was just fantastic in the way he treated me afterwards. He said, look, you obviously have a long career ahead of you, and he just wished me and my coach all the best for the future. And it was, I don't know if it was a passing of the baton or the torch, but like it felt good, to hear that from him.
The night that Chad le Clos jumped into all our hearts, Bert le Clos jumped into all our hearts, and we just wish the entire le Clos family strength. Of course, the news coming through in the last month or so that both Chad's mom and dad are fighting their biggest battle with cancer at the moment. So our hearts go out to you, and we hope that you get the treatment you need, and that you'll be able to watch your son do it again in Rio in 2016. Don't forget, of course, this all building up to the opening ceremony that will come your way just before 1 o'clock in the morning. It's going to be fantastic. We're with you for about 10 minutes or so. Then thereafter, we'll have, if you haven't seen it yet, the highlights from those games that were played this week, our under-23 side drawing to Brazil. We're live streaming the entire event, of course, on our YouTube, SABC YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/SABC Sport. That's where you'll find it. If you're sitting, I don't know, in the factory, watching in the background, you're on the production line, keep your device with you and you'll be able to stay connected to the Olympic Games. And of course, on Friday, the show that gets trending on social media, talking about TKO, that will be coming your way between the time that we go off air now and the opening ceremony. Back to the discussion on big moments. Chad le Clos, 4 years ago, I was at South Africa House doing the dreaded thing that media have to do, vox pops about the Olympic Games, and bah, he changed the mood of an entire room with that win against Michael Phelps. Was it even expected that he would do that in 2012, Penny?
Speak to his coach and they're going to say yes.
Yeah.
And if you listen to Chad, he said that he had been dreaming about that moment. But I think the reality of having achieved it, you could see, the way he reacted at the end. It was a big surprise to outtouch the greatest Olympian, the greatest athlete, I think, that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah,
but Chad has come a long way since then, and hopefully he can do it again.
Biggest moments in Olympic history. Let me come to Arno Malherbe. For you, what would those standout moments be?
Oh, easy. Michael Johnson, 96. Because I happened to be there. It was my first Olympics as well. Yeah. And, you know, I have to stick to the track. Of course, Penny Haynes, 96, was quite good as well. And then from a South African perspective, Josiah Tukwane, also in 96. It seems to have been a big Olympics for us. But he just captured the hearts of a nation as well at that time. So, yeah.
Look, I'm going to go back to 1936 Berlin and what Jesse Owen was able to do in front of Adolf Hitler for my moment. But your moment?
That was very poignant. There was a statement, a huge statement for the world to say, we all human beings. There's only one race, human race. Big up, Jesse Owens. Yeah. It took Josiah Tukwane away from me. But I'm going to take the whole continent. When those Kenyans do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, first, second, third, it's the most beautiful, most amazing sight ever. Because you look at where most of the people who come to compete and the facilities and the conditions that they have, that they train in, and you compare to what those Kenyans have to deal with, you say to yourself, if you put your mind to it, absolutely nothing can stop you from
Another big moment in the making. We are all keeping our fingers crossed, hoping that it will come from this woman right there. Arno Malherbe, that's the Ace of Night series. That's Caster qualifying for the Olympic Games. She set the world alight since then.
Oh, definitely. That was the start. She's gone 5 seconds faster since then. So
which is, it's mind-blowing to think that.
Yeah, 155. So keep an eye on that world record of 153. A lot of pundits are calling that to fall in Rio. She might get that. I mean, I think it's within her capability. It's not her focus, though. I think the focus is, as we've said earlier, that gold medal. And just doing her own thing, getting out there, talking with her feet, basically, and getting that gold medal. Yeah.
What has been the big difference? We know that she changed coaches. Is there something in the water in Potchefstroom where she's training now? Or is it John Verster and the way that he works with athletes?
I think it's definitely the second one. John Verster understands Caster, I think. And like I said earlier, she's very comfortable in her own skin. She's confident. She's happy. And I think the coach, John Verster, had a lot to do with that.
Well, there we go. BBK, you look at Caster Semenya.
Devastating form. Devastating form. She's in a form of her life. And the one thing that surprises me most about Caster is her mental fortitude. I was like, I don't know many people in this world, or in my circle of friends at least, who would have been able to be still standing and bounce back in the way that she's done. I mean, I think London 2012 was her lowest. Yeah. You know, we thought something was going to happen. She won the heat wonderfully, and in the final, finished stone last. You're thinking, okay, end of the story. It's not how you fall. It's how you pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and go again. And I hope that this is going to be a gradual, because since Diamond League, since Durban African Championships, now in Berlin she did it again. The most important thing now, are you not picking early? I hope not. I definitely hope not, and there are a lot. When you listen to the commentators, it is sickening. It is sickening. You know, the snide remarks. Look at how the other competitors are looking at her and all of that. Focus on the athlete and what she's here to do. She is here to run. She's running her race. She's running the race of her life. And Caster Semenya, I bet my cap collection, she's going to bring home.
Penny Haynes, from you, final thoughts before we wrap up here and go into that opening ceremony?
No, I just want to agree here that Caster, I've said all along, is the one guaranteed gold medal that we will have. And look forward to seeing it happen.
Well, there we go. You might not be hearing it, but what you are seeing in the background there, of course, the song that you'll have to get used to, pretty much like we did with a particular Colombian artist in 2010. This is the Rio Olympic anthem on a hip-hop twist. Now, coming up after this, Marion Jones. You don't want to miss that. Boxing, TKO, and I'm sure it's going to be trending on social media, the conversations happening there. And of course, we're going to relive some of the memories from those matches played by Banyana, by our under-23s. And then, when all of that is done and dusted, you're going to be joining us right here for the opening ceremony of Olympic Games 2016 happening in Rio, the first Olympic Games in South America. A large South African contingent. They will be coming up very early in that opening ceremony, so you better be here when that gets going on Saturday morning, early into the morning. Please join us. We'll be back in just a bit.